Testing, testing. Okay. Really? Of all days? Come on, man. Oh, come on. Test. Come on, get on there. Let's see if this is the issue. Okay, finally. God, I hate YouTube sometimes. Good afternoon, guys. Welcome aboard to the aftermarket recap. My name is Carlos Garcia, founder and CEO of G.A.R Capital. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your day to join me today and every afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Running about 4 minutes late this afternoon. My apologies. I was kind of messing with my streaming program, linking it with YouTube. What a pain. A couple things I want to show you real quick before we get started. Obviously, the Bloomberg terminal. So I'm going to keep this Bitcoin chart to the side. So Bitcoin did dump today, as you can see. Remember we talked about that 30,000 level being breached. That's a key level. So again, Bitcoin needs to recapture that 30,000, or it looks like we're going to get to 20. And I think that's where we stop. But again, keep an eye on that 30,000 level. So key. I say if you need the money in that sense, go ahead and sell whatever you got to sell. But if you need the money, if you don't, then that's fine. I hope it's not lagging. Interactive. My apologies. But I could see it on my screen. I don't know what's going on with the video today, but I'll record it. It'll be recorded. So worst case, you can actually see what's going on. This is the Bloomberg terminal. I'm going to go ahead and minimize it. We're going to get back to TOS and go over everything. Okay. Rock and roll. Let me move this over here. All right, so let's go ahead and go over the markets today. The Dow was down 176 points, NASDAQ down 0.72%, S&P down 0.75. We hit green on the Dow earlier today towards the tail end of the session. NASDAQ hit green a couple of times. S&P came close, but not exactly. We'll go over the price action today. The volatility index, VIX, was actually red. How about that? The VIX was actually red. It filled that first gap. There's another gap to fill at 25.46. Very key. Keep an eye on that VIX level. I thought we were going to continue to go higher. That was not the case. We sold immediately after the ISM manufacturing number, which actually did beat. So again, growth is slowing, but it did beat expectations. It looked like that was a reason to sell the market. I think the real reason the market sold off today, the way it did, was Jamie Dimon's talk of a hurricane coming, a financial hurricane, that the best thing to do is keep a conservative balance sheet, kind of spooking the market, that sort of thing. I think that's what stood out to bank stocks and investors. That was a big headline out there. Meryl Sandberg of Facebook stepped down as chief operating officer for about 12 years. That was a big headline today. Towards the tail end of the session, as we know, Facebook is about a half a trillion dollar company, 500 billion. So again, what they say does matter to the market. Let's go ahead and take a look here at small caps down 0.57%, 184.26. Dollar index down, up today, soared, 102.56. There's your reason why the markets did fall. Remember, we talked about the dollar. We talked about yields. The yields came up pretty quickly. Let's take a look at it. The dollar, you can see how that dollar continued to pop. It did break out. We may have a little more pain ahead. That's why the bottom wasn't in yet. But you could see based on this chart here, if we just start putting in some lines if you wanted to, that 100-day moving average on the daily kind of held. We did break out of this small little range here. Do we have more to go? If you look at the hourly, it seems like your next resistance is right around 103, 103.08 or say. So maybe some more pain. Again, that does hurt markets. Treasury yields, 10-year notes. You can see we did have the quantitative tightening. Bonds are being sold by the Fed. And you can see right now we close at 2.93%. But again, a break of this downtrend. Let's see if we can actually recapture and actually fill this gap to the downside around 2.75%. TNX has filled its gaps as we've been going along. It does take some time, but it does happen. Let's see what else we got. High yield credit fell 0.37%. Not horrible, but not good either. Investment grade fell 0.58%. So basically a sell the bonds day. Bonds were sold off and so were stocks. Crude oil up 0.1%. Nothing crazy. I mean, another kind of spike, pump and dump in a sense. You had that spike on Tuesday, we fell. We had a spike to 118 and we fell a quick $3 and about 20 cents or so. from about 118, $3.80. So a volatile crude oil markets is all headlines now, in a sense. We do have oil inventories, I believe, tomorrow at 10:30. So keep an eye on that. Gasoline continues to creep higher. President Biden says he's going to find a way or speak about plans to lower costs. Whatever that means, we'll be on it. We'll send out the headlines as we get them. Let's take a look at gold, up 0.06%, kind of hedging, green for the day while the market's red. Silver did its job too, up 0.79%. Not tons of action there. In terms of Bitcoin, we already talked about Bitcoin here. Let's go ahead and move this chart here because there's no Bitcoin spot on Thinkorswim. It's on what is it on Bloomberg instead. What I have on Thinkorswim is futures. So that's not going to work because that's closed. So let's go to a year-to-date chart. We'll put some candles in and see where we're going. Let's go to a 5-year chart. Same deal like we talked about. That 30,000 breach, that's the level that you have to watch, guys. If you start getting below 27,000, you're going to get down to around 20. This is your line. Remember, we talked about this line here. Let's go ahead and put it on together. I know there's a lot of Bitcoin investors, so bear with me here. That's exactly, I think we're going to go right there. We're going to recapture that 2017 top around 19,185. I'm still holding my Bitcoin. Nothing has changed there. But again, I expect us to continue to go down. This level here was big. We'll go to put horizontal line, and we can start putting our lines together right there. There you go. And that's your other line right there at 29,700, let's call it. But 30,000 being the really, really big level. You could see that break. We retested that breakout and retested. Hey, maybe this is considered a double bottom. Could be. But again, it needs to hold 30K. Remember, we had that push just recently on Bitcoin. The Solana network, that was down today. I don't own any Solana, so Solana did fall. I don't have a quote on that. Let me see if I can find it for you. Let's go to the Solana USD chart. We'll go to 5-day chart. If I could bring this up. Solana, well, I guess I never really used FTX's site, so why not? Close. Oh, well, FTX is pretty nice. Solana is down from today from the peaks of around 45.50 to 40. So you could see that move of around 11%. I think that's dragging down Bitcoin. Same thing that we had with the Terra Luna issue, or the mass liquidations. So I think this is adding pressure to Bitcoin. Can we hold 30,000 is the question. That's one of those things that we just have to wait for. I saw a really, really great chart earlier today. I really want to share it with you guys. Take a look at this. This is from the live market blog. I got it on Twitter. I loved it. Take a look at this right here. Bitcoin, look at this downward here. Testing resistance. Euronext 100, testing resistance. Nikkei, testing resistance. Ethereum, testing resistance. S&P 500, that 4,200 is key, but again, testing resistance. The Chinese CSI 300, testing resistance. So a lot of correlations there between risk on and risk off assets. So your risk on assets would be equities, would be crypto, would be commodities. Those are more risk on. Again, risk off and commodities for an inflationary period, sure, but usually that's a risk on. Like copper being a very risk on. That's a really good surveyor of business activity. If copper is being used and the price is up, you're pretty much getting a lot of industrial activity or construction activity happening. Usually a good sign. You could say the same for lumber with house prices and housing costs and building. Kind of the same deal, but again, it's important to kind of look at these different commodities and what they do and how it affects the market. Let's take a look here at FinViz, what moved, what didn't. We'll bring up here the S&P heat map. Big winner today, CRM with a great earnings report. Apparently that's what the market said. I saw that they missed. ServiceNow is up 1.64%. I believe they're going to get taken over as well. Amazon up 1.23%. Energy, again, still green. Big losers today were the banks. That you could say was on Jamie Dimon today on what was happening. Tesla down 2.36%. Even the defensives were down today. Kind of a hedge, protection kind of play, right? Kind of a safe haven. Not today. That didn't happen. Take a look at the groups. Energy, again, leading the way as crude goes higher. Defensives, worst of the bunch because they're just getting expensive. Healthcare down today. Financials down. So again, kind of a rotation. Technology, not terrible. kind of the third best on the board, down 0.41. So again, it's not like tech sank the market or anything like that, because actually the Nasdaq itself underperformed the Dow. But again, the Nasdaq did perform better than the S&P as a whole. So again, Adobe had a nice day. Cisco had some green. The semiconductors took a little bit of a hit today, but for the most part, the market today. Give me a second here. If I can bring up this chart. I think I just lost this chart. Let me see if I could get this here. There you go. Sorry about that. So with that being said, the price action today on S&P. Let's go over that together and see what the hell happened. So let's talk about it. The future side, you can see kind of stuck in a range, 4160 or so, we'll call it. Had a nice pop in the morning, and then we continued it down. Big red candle down to 4101, big level. We talked about that. It's the Russian invasion lows. I said that 4155 was a big pivot for the upside. We didn't get that. We fell down, and then we started bouncing here. So bulls came in and started buying at 4080, kind of around that 4101 level. If we can get above that, I think we still go higher, guys. I still think we can still grind higher to 4,200. After 4,200, I mean, all bets are off. I mean, you really need to start talking about 4,252. But I say at least 4,200 to retest that would be a good level to go by. We're still above this downward trend. We're still above the 20-day on the daily. Again, not the best price action for the first of the month. Even yesterday was red. But again, look how much we came up just last week, last couple of days, since the lows of May 20th so far. So kind of take things with a grain of salt. It's a short week as well. Memorial Day, we know, was Monday. So again, it really is a day-to-day market. It was so choppy. We fell, we bounced, and then we chopped around. We were actually going to probably go green on NASDAQ towards the tail end of the day, right till close, and then we got a nice sell-off towards the end that cost about 15 handles on the S&P. Now, what is standing out here to me today? Yields in the dollar are really the big ones. Again, breakouts. You could see another breakout here. Again, we said that the dollar was going to go down, obviously, with that inverse head and shoulders that we talked about. But look at that. Nice, clean breakout out of that trend line. Now, the question is, what do we do? Do we continue higher? Do we go to 103.08? That's big resistance to me, but also, you can also retest that neckline here on actually this support level here on the dollar, which was that first initial breakdown on that head and shoulders. So again, that would be your ultimate level there if you want to recapture if you're a dollar bull. Again, let's see if we get to 103.08. Things change rather quickly. Tomorrow they'll probably just sell it. Who knows? And we just got to see what Asia does. Let's answer some questions. Good afternoon. Good afternoon. Is it a good time to buy JPM or GS long term? Okay, let's take a look at it. Good news that banks are relatively cheap. Let's go ahead and go to the daily. I do like the banks. Don't get me wrong. I like JPM a lot. I own Goldman Sachs a lot, but I have not put any capital to work. I want to see if we can retest those lows, guys, on the S&P first. I know I always get back to that, but if we can get back down to at least 3,800 or so, 3,900, and just hold that and bounce, that'd be great, because that'd probably be my shot. But 3,750 was the key level based on yields. If we see yields start falling and kind of stay around 2.5% consistently, inflation kind of falls, then a level starts getting interesting here, because the PE ratios do change based on the price of the stock, obviously, and earnings. We only get earnings every quarter, but the price changes every day. So again, it's very important to see what exactly are you looking for in terms of value. I don't think you can go wrong with financials. Great. They have their balance sheets are great. Obviously, you got great executives there. I still like Goldman Sachs at JPM. Morgan Stanley is okay, but I don't own them. But I would not buy them here. No. Sweet interface with the Bloomberg terminal. I'm jelly. Yeah. Listen, I'm gonna do more videos on the Bloomberg. No worries. I absolutely love it. But like I said, I'm still getting used to it. I'm still getting with it. So as I get everything going in terms of kind of mastering a little bit, I'll do some videos with you guys where we can talk about the Bloomberg terminal and some of the cool things we can do with it. Will you be buying Amazon or Google, the stock split? I own both. Again, for the most part, I mean, will that really change anything? Amazon is shooting up. Obviously, we do have the stock split coming. Is it interesting to buy here? Amazon is still expensive. Keep in mind, we're going to go to the S&P map. We'll go to PE ratio. Let's go to a forward PE. And you can see Amazon's trading at a 44 PE multiple. At this kind of interest rate, with this kind of this tightening of monetary policy from the Fed, 44 is just still too expensive in my opinion. Apple, I can understand with that premium being the balance sheet and everything like that. Microsoft at 25. Amazon doesn't have the cash the way a Google or an Apple or a Microsoft does. They don't have that kind of cash. So there's a lot of cash for a lot of expenses. So no, I would not be wanting to go into Amazon quite yet. I'd want to see either their stock price go down or their earnings to come up. If they have a great earnings report, yeah, I'd feel a lot more confident to add some more. But for the most part, no. Google, that's different. Google, we could definitely see it is cheaper, that's for sure. Google right now is trading at a 17 times multiple, pretty much the same multiple, actually cheaper than Walmart. So 17 times forward is not bad at all. That's a pretty good value on Google. Have I deployed cash quite yet? No, not with Google. I own it, but again, I want to look at it long term. Obviously, I want to see if I can get a better price. There's a gap to fill right here, guys, at 21.76. That might just give us the green light to go for it. Not too far away either, but start nibbling at 21.76, possibly adding. Maybe by the time the stock is split, we'll see where we go from there. But again, a lot of moving pieces. The trade desk. Let's see it. Oh, TTD. Trade desk bounced a little bit now at 51.56 on the chart on the daily. Let's go ahead and look it up. The trade desk. Yeah, I'm looking at it right now. See that PE. Forward PE of 44. Yeah, that's kind of expensive. Sales are higher. That's good. EPS kind of dropped from 2020 to 2021. We can understand why. Not terrible. I mean, just depends on how far forward thinking you're looking in terms of the name, in terms of the investment. If you're looking for a trade, I can kind of see it. If you start breaking out of this downward trend, sure, maybe to 60, you could start trading it. But in terms of owning it here, I just don't think these companies right now are the best places to buy quite yet. We haven't had that kind of capitulation moment yet. We haven't had that mass panic yet. We've had a drag down. Yes, orderly selling, but a complete, ugly event where you get a Dow down 2,000, 3,000 points. I doubt that. I think we had a 1,800 point day once and we continued down. I would wait on TTD for that. I would just wait a little bit, be a little patient, see if we can get at least down to around maybe mid 40s, 45 or so. That'd probably be a good price. Again, the only issue is that you're paying 44 times for a growth company. And I understand, but right now they're not going to be that attractive. If you love long-term TD, green light, go for it. If you're going to hold it for at least 5 years, yes, I would. But not everyone invests like that. And I understand. It doesn't feel good to see your portfolio go down, obviously. All right, guys, we'll go and leave it there. Have a great rest of your afternoon. I'm going to go and keep an eye on Bitcoin as we go. Anything new, I will let you guys know. Make sure to follow us on Twitter at G.A.R Capital, GARCAPITAL. Thank you so much for your time, guys. Have a great rest of your afternoon. We'll see you guys tomorrow morning for the morning note. Cheers.